Have you ever looked at an individual like Liz Brown, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Jim Rohns, anybody who's a great speaker, and you thought to yourself, man, I wish that I could be a great speaker just like them? Now, the moment that thought enters in your mind, the fear comes with it. Your heart starts beating fast. Your palms start sweating. You got butterflies in your stomach, and you start to think and wonder, if I did this, if I started public speaking, what if this happened? What if this happened? And at that point, you done talked yourself out of the idea of being a speaker and speaking in public and speaking with confidence. Now, I can't help you speak like these guys, but what I can do is help you overcome that fear of public speaking. Now, if you want to be more confident, clear, and commanding when you speak, join my Discord community, where it's my job to challenge you to be a great speaker. Now, my public speaking journey, it started when I was about 11 to 12 years old. And I still remember the ladies of 4-H. They came down to my school, my elementary school, and they were showing us these clips of kids doing all these summer activities. These kids were doing canoeing, they was doing archery, they was swimming, they was doing all this kind of stuff. And the first thing that entered my mind is this: ain't no black people with canoeing. I was very intrigued with all of this, because when you grow up in a poor area, you don't get to do these type of activities. Now, with them showing us these kids doing all these things, they was also showing us clips of these kids competing. They were showing us clips of kids involved in public speaking competitions. And that was very interesting to me. So I went home that same day, and I was telling my mama what all these kids were doing. And I told her about the public speaking. I was telling her because I wanted her to allow me to be a part of this and join this. But she really wanted me to join for the public speaking aspect. She wanted me to get out of my comfort zone. She wanted me to challenge myself. She wanted me to get away from that introverted shyness that I had at a young age. And at first I was fighting. I wasn't really trying to do all that. I just wanted to do all the summer activities. Now, after a few weeks, I joined the club, and maybe I want to say after a few more weeks, I started doing the public speaking aspect. I started preparing myself to compete. Now, to give you a rundown of how that first speech went, I'll just be honest with you. It was terrible. Anything and everything a public speaker can do wrong, I was doing all of it. I wasn't making no eye contact. I was reading from my script or my paper the whole time. I had a monotone voice. I was like this. I mean, like anything that I could do wrong, I was just doing. But here's the thing. What's so powerful about all of that is that I challenged myself. Now, I don't know if you just peeped the game, but I just gave you the key to overcome that fear of public speaking. You have to challenge yourself. You have to force yourself to be uncomfortable. You just got to go out there and do it. Here's the thing about fear. When we're fearful of something, we allow our minds to rationalize whether we should do something or not. And more than likely, we're not going to do it. And the reason why is because we're so intelligent, we can talk ourselves out of doing the thing that we desire to do. We can come up with every logical excuse why we shouldn't do it. And more than likely, we ain't going to do it. But here's the thing about this specific fear, the fear of public speaking. Have you ever realized that this fear, if you decided to conquer it, if you decide to challenge it, it ain't gonna kill you, it ain't life-threatening, it's not gonna put you in the hospital. What is the reason for you to have that fear? If you think about it, there's no real reason to have a fear of public speaking. Now, if you was fearful of speaking in public because a lion was gonna walk out, then listen, you got me, then that's a realistic fear now. This fear is not going to kill you. It's not going to hurt you. It's not going to put you in the hospital. Why do you have that fear? Why can't you be a great speaker? The reason why I'm asking you these questions is because you can be a great speaker. You don't have to allow that fear to prevent you from speaking in public. And if you don't want it to prevent you from speaking in public, you got to challenge yourself. You got to force yourself to be uncomfortable. There's nothing out there for you in that comfort zone that you like being in. All the greatness that you desire, all the success, all the goals that you want to accomplish, all of them are on the other side of fear. I'm gonna be honest with you. Public speaking is one of the easiest things that you can do, but it starts with you forcing yourself to be uncomfortable. And listen, you probably gonna start out how I did, making every mistake possible when you're giving that first speech. And that's okay. You ain't perfect. You're the most imperfect person on this planet. And you should be perfectly fine with that. Matter of fact, the sooner you make all your mistakes, the sooner you can get better, because you can learn from those mistakes. You can learn what not to do. So again, if you want to overcome that nasty fear of public speaking, you gotta force yourself to be uncomfortable and force yourself to speak in public. Now, one of the things that you could do, which I did later in my college years or my early college years, is that I joined Toastmasters. Join some clubs that force you to be uncomfortable and that forces you to develop and improve as you're speaking. I ain't telling you to go out on your first try and give a keynote. No, get some work and get some reps in. Confidence is a muscle, and you build it by doing the thing that makes you feel uncomfortable. Hence, forcing yourself to speak in public. All the guys who I mentioned earlier, from Les Brown, Tony Robbins, Eric Thomas, Bob Proctor, Jim Rohn, all of these guys' names who I've mentioned, you have the ability to be a great speaker just like them. It just starts with you forcing yourself to be uncomfortable.